That
He posted.
unmuted. We are recording. Quick audio check for those who are early arrivals.
Yes, yes. Audio check. Back for that. I see you. Infinite Range. I see you. What's going on?
How we doing, everybody? Bullet, Karl Marx. Yep. Chicago, all of you guys.
Yeah.
Travis, say a few words. Just make sure they can hear you.
A few words just to make sure they can hear you.
I knew he was going to say that.
Oh.
I literally knew he was going to say that.
Shout out to 3 Geeks. He had to book it, but can't make the last word. So I'll throw in some hashtag dog noises and wish you all an amazing weekend.
Hell yeah. Dog noises, baby.
Oh, yeah.
And on that Travis smile, we can get the show on the road. So silence on the set. 5. Oh, hold on. Let me get some.
Yeah, you
Travis
got the tweet out?
dropping tweet spin out.
Oh, sorry. Let me just get that tweet out.
Slacker, what are you doing?
Hey, man, I'm not used to being this prepared.
I know. I
Well, when there's not a lot to do in Destiny, it's a lot easier.
All right, tweets out.
Feets out?
Tweets out.
Oh, we are recording, so silence in 5.
All right, and we are live. The last word with LordCognito, Ebontis, Tie Guy, Travis, fresh on that Thursday evening Destiny campfire. And we're not laid off, y'all. We still have our jobs. We're good. We're employed.
Speak for yourself.
Speak for yourself. But the cheetah, how are we doing, sir?
Doing pretty good. Had a relaxing morning. Just went to go get a massage and then went to go grab some tacos because apparently it was Happy Leap Day at Torchy's Tacos. So I was like, all right, there's an excuse to get some tacos. I got those. Also, as I was driving there, it was like in the same, almost across the parking lot as a Trader Joe's. That's a dangerous shopping experience for all the random crap that they have in there when I don't go but every blue moon. So I was walking through and I was like, oh, those. We have a few. They're not, there's like, this would be, I guess, this one I honestly didn't know existed. There's 3, I guess, that I can think of in like the whole Metroplex. But yeah, there's a couple. But yeah, you walk in, I'm like, all right, skip the entire bakery section because I just want to eat all of it. But yeah, my wife actually, I can't eat almonds because I have, I can't do tree nuts for an allergy. But they had, my wife was like, oh, if you're there, you get chocolate covered almonds. There's like 4 different types of chocolate covered almonds, and it's just crazy. So yeah, walking through there is a little dangerous. Got a couple things. But yeah, been playing a couple things. I rolled credits on Pacific Drive.
Oh, I heard good things. Heard great things.
I actually enjoyed that. For me, I mean, just like I was rolled credits on stream, was playing through that from the hip. I would give that an 8. Okay. I really enjoyed that. What it did with, like, I remember probably talking to you about it like a few weeks ago, or when I did the preview, like that early. Like getting through the crafting and then not dealing with the damage too well. And it felt like I was just like, why am I stuck in this loop where I go out, get damaged, then I come back, I don't even have enough for like repair putty and basic things. As soon as I like understood like the loop, just to like go out and kind of the risk of when you like pick up the anchor, which kind of stabilizes the zone, as soon as you unstabilize the zone, it is time to leave and go back to the garage. Once that loop kind of set in and then I understood like what was going on, just the voices were well done. The story was kind of cool and unique. And for just a roguelike with the driving, and it's just a unique, weird.
Seems like a game I would like.
It is such a bizarre. And the nice thing is, again, if you're like, hey, this whole car damage thing is really starting to piss me off, or I just want to leave my headlights on all the time, or I don't want to worry about fuel. They have so many settings, kind of similar to the way I appreciated that Prince of Persia had major difficulty choices. This is the same way because you could turn off car damage, player damage, infinite fuel, infinite headlights, basic stuff like that. And then you could work on what tools and things you want, not have to quite have so much friction as you go on runs and try not to get so many supplies. So I actually ended up really liking that one quite a bit. I'm playing something else a little bit. We'll see how much coverage comes on that, but I can't talk about that one yet.
NDA boys.
Ryan.
Gotta do that NDA.
And then I've been playing some Helldivers still, just kind of dabbling when I get time in between some other stuff. It's still fun to just go in, go for a couple of runs, level up a little bit, drop a bomb on things. Just it is a fun game. I'm glad to see it successful. And then Nightingale. So that
Hmm.
is one that is, so it's a survival crafting, a little bit of
Right.
magical spin. I think I told about it before.
Yep, last time.
I talked to one of the community guys I talked to. One of the big, it's early access and it has a little bit of that feel, but it's an Unreal Engine, so I can see that it's got a lot of potential with some tweaks to it. Like for survival crafting from what you have in storage, it's not there. It needs to be there. Like absolutely needs to be there. Because it is a pain point of like, all right, let me go over here and pick this thing up, pick these 3 things up over here, go over here. And the crafting is so deep and detailed. It's cool, but it's almost too complicated.
Yeah.
It's at that point. And that's well, that's kind of the thing. Like certain things are like if you get certain parts and you can do a few basic up. That's why Pacific Drive, like you get metal scraps. Oh, you turn those into steel sheets. Cool. That's most of what I did. Pretty basic. This one, if you get like wood, then you can turn it into carved wood, or you can turn it into, there is so much depth. But the difference is like, if you get the wood from your original zone, chop down a tree in your original zone, you're like, all right, so I got some wood bundles, take them back, you do something. Well, if you go into a higher level zone and you get like higher level wood bundles, they start infusing higher stats and things when you put them into gear. And when you kill better animals, the hide that you use to make your gear can actually be upgraded. It's like, there's a lot of depth to it, but it is very, very like if somebody really loves this genre, they could go lose like 100 hours. But it's like a first time into it. That's a little hard to get over that initial
thing for me.
No, that one and that's an interesting recommend because it's early access. It's $30 right now to jump in. I kind of enjoy what it does in some places, and I think maybe long-term with the realm cards and the biomes, it's something where they set themselves up with the procedural piece to kind of give themselves a really big runway to make it as big as they kind of want to. But right now, if you really like survival crafting, that is like your jam.
This is it.
You could probably jump in and have a whole bunch of depth, but it's rough around the edges, needs a few tweaks. I think the crafting from storage like is coming in March. Like it's not that far. That is a high priority for them, I know. But yeah, that's one that's got potential, I think, as well. Other than that, I'm just kind of looking to later in March, a lot of later in March. There's so much there. So, but for now, that's kind of what I'm up to. Travis, what have you been doing? If you can talk about it, of course.
Yeah, I can say that I finished my Outlast Trials review this week, which is embargoed until March 5th, I believe, which is 5 days from now. But yeah, that one's done and in the bag. My next reviews are Earth Defense Force 6 and the new South Park game. So I've got some.
That South Park game, I can't quite figure out what it is. I will be very curious to hear more about that one.
Yeah, I mean, it's a direct sequel to The Fractured Butthole, so I would expect it to be good, but also I don't know why there's been so little fanfare or word out on it. Like I haven't seen any of it, so maybe it sucks. I guess we'll see. I can't really talk about any of the stuff I previewed, but I think since the last time we chatted, I finished my Skull and Bones review, which I had a lot of fun with. I'm actually still playing that game from time to time because some of my friends are enjoying it, so we're hopping on together and playing.
Nice.
And then yeah, I went to Texas this last week to do a comedy show, so that was fun.
We back on stage?
Yeah. I got hired to do a roast, so I went and made fun of some people, which was cool. Actually, I have a bit of a story because, as you know, Ebontis, it was in Texas. And when I got to the venue, I started setting up, and I took out my laptop and I asked the staff what the Wi-Fi was, like what's the Wi-Fi situation, and she goes, "Yeah, our Wi-Fi network is called Hunter Biden's laptop."
Hey yo.
And I was like, okay, so obviously I'm in Texas. And then I said, okay, what's the password? And she said, it's Hunter Biden's laptop. It doesn't have a password.
Hey yo.
Wow.
I
mean, I live here.
So,
I live
yeah.
So I will say, like, if you're ever wondering how Texas is divided up, you have like major cities: Austin, Dallas, not so much Fort Worth, even though it's a little purple, but Austin, Dallas, San Antonio, El Paso, like the major hubs are pretty blue. You can just throw red at basically the rest of the state, though.
You can
Just throw the bucket and then, like, yeah, just cover up those 4 little things.
Well, I was in Austin, which was why I was surprised, but I was also in a comedy club, and that's a funny joke.
That's
like
funny.
it's just that's just a funny joke.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on.
Yeah,
that was pretty good.
It's just a good joke, so that made me laugh. But yeah, that went well. So yeah, I've been doing some reviews, some previews, but most of it I can't really talk about yet. But yeah, keeping busy, and then also just working on other projects. And I think I'm getting more time, or feels like I'm getting more time this year, because I have a Destiny drought a little bit. So not a whole lot to do there.
Nice.
Although it sounds like maybe that'll change.
Yeah, we got stuff to talk about. Yeah, for me, it's
been,
what
are you been up to?
I've been playing a lot actually. So obviously No Life Infinite Wealth a week and a half ago. Finished it.
Great.
100+ hours, loved it. It's got its flaws, but because I think they try to do so much. They try to like combine like 2 major stories and put them together. But I really enjoyed it. I like the callbacks were really cool. The side games are absolutely hilarious. So did that. And then I'm like, all right, what's the next big thing? And I'm prepping for Final Fantasy, which I'm going to start probably tonight. But I wanted to give myself a break in between. So I've still been doing Tekken 8 competitive, which has been absolutely hilarious. And then what you call it? There's a I was like, you know what? Let me try a Game Pass game. I never touched. Was it Gotham Knights? What was it that came out?
Yep.
I reviewed it. 5 out of 10 IGN.
Bro, I tried. Like, I was like, you know what? Maybe things are better. I stood away from everything. I never, when the reviews are going on, I didn't get involved, but I had my eye on it, and I was just like,
I feel like you're better served playing Well, the funny thing is, I think Arkham Knight has higher player bases than Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad is under 1,000 players concurrent on Steam.
Wow. Yeah.
So
it's not very good.
The frame rate was just horrible. The best part I like was
Suicide Squad at least performs better. I will say that.
That's what I heard. That's what I heard. But I couldn't deal with the frame rate. I like the little investigative stuff, but the combat felt slow, like molasses, repetitive. I just couldn't do it. So other than that, then I shout the back for Dan. The crew actually played a little Destiny. Got Crota finally done.
Oh.
Finally.
Did you get Necrochasm, or were you not that
I got
lucky?
like 3 souls. And I was hoping I get lucky.
That's where I'm at. I had like 3 or 4 souls or something.
I was like, come on, Destiny, I ain't playing in a while. Give me the one shot for all of them.
Oh, you've got your rested experience in Destiny, and you wanted to cash it in on the exotic? Yeah, no.
All right, Jesus was not having any of that. They was like, no, you're going to get back in here. You go play. And I'm like, So I did that, and just messing around with some builds and stuff. But yeah, that's been pretty much it. I'm probably gonna be No Life in Final Fantasy next. So I was just trying to give myself a break because I know that's what I'm gonna do next. But yeah,
I had one other game I totally forgot.
Which one?
It's the stupidest little game. I think it's 65 megabytes or something. It's Balatro. Now I don't know if any of you guys have seen this thing. I forgot. That was like
I'm playing it. I'm playing it right now.
Yeah, I have like a round in the other room on my Steam Deck, just like paused. This is.
Have you heard of this one?
Have you heard? Okay.
Oh wow. Yeah, it's cool.
A roguelike kind of poker game.
Looking at it now.
And
it's kind of like Slay the Spire, except for it uses. It's actually based off of a game called Big Two. If you know what that is. It's
that I haven't heard of.
Is this the card joint you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like you'll go through a roguelike, but then you are like, well, it's not poker. You're not playing hands against each other. You're trying to basically play a hand, and between the chips you get, which are usually based around point values, and then the multipliers and stuff all come from like the jokers you acquire. It all kind of comes into this just trying to stack multipliers on chips and everything. So you're just trying to really lean into a certain play style. Whether it's like, I had one where I was going for as many straights as I could. So you can level up a straight to give you more points and more chips. So then if you have straights, play more, and then you have one joker that will give you 100 chips for every straight that you play, and you're trying to go through each of these basically, mini boss for a round, and they require you to earn so much more points as you go. It's this weird little thing, but it works really well. It's and then you unlock more jokers, and you've got different cards that can change cards into other cards and give them little modifiers to them. It is a weird little thing, but the more you play, you're like, it's one of those just one more run kind of games. And it's dangerous, but it's also nice because I can pick up and be like, I'll just get a run in while I'm sitting here, waiting for something to happen. And you can do a short run if you can get through like the main 8 bosses, or you can just go endless and see how high you can take your points. You can take it either way.
Nice. That's what Vampire Survivors is for me. That's my little late night sometimes. Unwind and then like, I see how far I go kind of thing. I feel you. So what's going on in this game, man? What's happening?
What game do you speak of, sir?
What's going on? I heard things is happening. I see little things.
All right,
He's being quite vague. Anybody else feel that?
I heard about things, about games. Guardian games.
Things and stuff. What's
things
going
and
on?
Stuff. And what's happening? Is this game actually putting out content? What's going on?
Sorry, somebody's spamming my Twitch chat with just.
Oh yeah, we got to get them.
No, don't stop my accounts. I earn a living too.
Hotforthenight.com. Stop it.
Yep.
That's right.
Get him. There we go.
Okay, Destiny.
Nice.
Sorry about that for all the live and listeners. So this week in Destiny coming around, and they went hard with Guardian games with one thing. I get one thing is going to make every single person who has played Destiny, who has it installed, who hasn't played in 5 months, everybody's going to log in to do whatever it takes to get this one thing. And I probably could tell you I would not have guessed this going in, but they are going back to the 80s with the movie reference, and you're probably going to hit about 88 miles an hour. And it's hoverboard time.
Hoverboard time.
I cannot actually believe we are getting a vehicle that is not a Sparrow. And
I can.
I mean,
you saw it coming?
Does this not strike you guys as amazingly like something that was supposed to be in Lightfall that got cut?
I mean, it feels like it with the
There's a hoverboard in that campaign. Yeah,
Strider, yeah.
It's got a neon techno futurist vibe to it too.
Yeah, this would make
strikes me as something that didn't quite make the cut that they threw in later.
Yeah, I'm looking at that what you call it, that emblem, very Lightfall.
Not that that's bad, by the way.
Yeah, but Lightfall color inspired. Yeah, I can see it.
So yeah, we get. No, I'm looking. So you're gonna have the Guardian games one that you can get. Everybody can get it for free through a basic quest. And then they said there's something where if you need to want to keep it permanently, which you're going to, you have to complete one of their quests. I don't imagine those are going to be crazy difficult. Stuff like this is never that in-depth. They said there's also going to be an Eververse, of course, skimmer as well. Don't know what it looks like yet, but that will be. What do you think the Eververse one's going to be? Do you think they go Lightfall and do like? Do you think they go that way? Do they think they get like some Back to the Future or Silver Surfer? Or
that's what they gonna get me.
If they get Silver Surfer, can you imagine if it was Silver Surfer? No, you know how you would empty your wallet if it was Silver Surfer, and then when you jump on, you like silverify.
Yeah, just to piss off Travis.
Silverify.
That's not a real term, but you know what I mean. You got it.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, this is speaking to me. So yeah, they're gonna do something cool. They're gonna do something cool. They have some emote or something as well. You know how they do. You know how Test does. So I'm not surprised. But yeah, this is pleasant little surprise. I didn't see this coming. So I thought it showed well. Oh, I got a question for both of y'all though. What about maybe we all been wanting Sparrow Racing League? Do we get HRL?
Hoverboard Racing League? No.
Is this the prelude to HRL? What we doing?
Now, what I wish is if you could ride on your Sparrow and shoot. Now, if you could do that, that would actually be the next level of game changer. But yeah, if they could do a battle arena with hoverboards, well, they have. I wonder now because they did the Sparrow Crucible mode where you can get your Sparrow out. Now you're going to be able to do this.
Flirting.
Now you just got to put them together with Sparrow with like Mad Max Sparrow Racing or something. I don't know what you call it.
There we
There's
go.
somebody's got better naming
You
schemes
got the
than I
old
do.
assets somewhere. Just give us the damn maps.
Yeah.
Flip them assets, Budgie. You good at that. Let's go.
But yeah, this is one
True.
of those. This is one of those rare moments where I feel like truly everyone's going to be like, somewhere in these 3 weeks, they may not care about medals, they may not care about Crucible score and Guardian games, but they're gonna want the new Sparrow type.
Yeah.
They're gonna log into Final Shape. They want a hoverboard. I mean, you got the Velcro white sneakers and the pink hoverboard. I mean, come on, like, you got to do it.
Very Cloud Strider-ish, you know. Yeah, interesting.
It is interesting. I'll give him that.
Mhm.
What do you guys think of the armor?
Let's take a look. So briefly, let's see.
I
It
will
looks
tell you,
cool.
I was like,
I'll
I
give him
think
that.
I think the Titan helmet looks weird. He looks like he has these two little like nubs on his head. The
Like little
Warlock has
cat
like the
ears.
big wing. They're not even tall enough to be cat ears. They're very weird looking to me. Like, I don't mind the color styles. Of
Mhm.
course, they're going to be your yellow, your blue, your red. And they look
Mhm.
decent with like he's got the almost like a little kind of fire crown thing in front.
Yeah, crown
But
thing.
it's just, I don't know what those two little nubs are doing on top. It's very weird. That's the only thing for me is just the helmet. Like the rest of
Yeah.
it, you know, the helmets look
Love-
generally pretty cool.
Yeah, I love the Warlock helmet. Love it. I just don't know how I feel about the rest of the ensemble. You know what I'm saying? Hunters, I think, got it. To me, Hunters look really sleek. Look cool. What you guys think?
I don't know. It's hard to tell the little tassels that are on like the Warlock shoulders, like the
Yeah, a little
blue,
fur.
yellow, blue, red, yellow, like those little tassels. They look like they're on the back of the Hunter cloak as
Mhm.
well, or cape. Like the Hunter helmet, Warlock helmet look cool.
Mhm.
Warlock could look good because it's got that like sleek coat look to it with kind of almost like the.
I'm
I
getting
feel like
tired
you
of the
could
full
almost.
coats a little bit sometimes, though.
I mean, you're a Warlock. That's what you got. We got big
I'm getting, like, but
shoulders.
we-
You got coats. They got capes. That's what we do.
He
It's what we
told you
do.
to stick with it. He was like, just deal with it, Cogn.
Just deal with it. That's what you got to like. Yeah. I don't know. I got to see. I got because it's this weird angle too. Do they have any shots of it like straight on? Like they have like other angles of it?
Oh, let
I
me
just
look.
see like this angled shot. No, in Bungie's account they probably got it, but yeah, you know. I love the helmet though. I really love. Okay, I see a better shot straight on with the Titan. It is weird. Is it? Yeah, it is like the nubs on the ears do look a little. I see what you're saying. They do look a little.
Yeah, that's kind of a different look at the Warlock.
Mm-hmm.
Hunter.
Yeah, it's all right. Nothing too crazy.
Yeah, I don't get a whole lot of.
Yeah, I'm looking at the trailer now. What are they doing?
I think I sent you guys the
Battlefield.
wallpapers. Yeah, there's
Yeah,
those
yeah.
same wallpapers. I don't have.
Mhm.
Yeah, trailer might hold stuff, but. Oh,
alright,
here
so
you go. See,
freeze
this
frame
shows
it.
this
Yeah.
shows the helmet for the Titan. This looks
Mhm.
goobery. I don't get the.
Yeah, it do look weird. It looks incomplete. Like
Yeah,
something's
it's
missing.
not done developing. They took it out of the
Yeah.
oven too early. It didn't rise. I don't know what you want to call it, but
Mhm.
yeah, I don't know if I'm overly excited about the Titan stuff.
Yeah. He's like, share the screen with us.
Oh, sorry, I have too many windows going right now. That would
Yeah.
be.
There'll be a little bit much right now. In 2 streams. Sorry, Brian.
Yeah, sorry, one too many things going on at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I
What
would
about you,
ruin
Trav? How
all
you
of
feeling
these
about-
windows.
Deal with it, Brian.
How you
What do you-
feeling about the outfits?
They're okay.
Mhm.
I mean, we've kind of seen stuff like this before in Destiny, so I hope that they provide a way to get it that doesn't require pulling out the credit card, but we'll see.
Armor, probably not. The first skimmer board does sound quest related.
Yes.
That is about all I can
Yeah.
promise you.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not wrong. I'm just,
Mhm.
I'm out here wishing for a game
Hey,
that didn't have as many microtransactions.
I was gonna say, is the Humble Bundle still going? Last time I checked, it was like still extended or something. Yeah, it's still there. 4 days left. I swear they keep pushing how long that thing is gonna be out there. If you've ever wanted to play, somebody you want to get them into it. 40
Don't do
bucks? $40 for every pack out there. But yeah, so much of that stuff should be free.
There's an
30th anniversary, Beyond Light, Shadowkeep, Forsaken. At a minimum, those should be free. Witch Queen,
Right.
deeply discounted all the time. And then
Right.
Nightfall, at this point, also should be pretty hard discounted.
Didn't I heard like Witch Queen is like free on PlayStation Network or something? Like if you're on PlayStation, you get Witch Queen right now, something like that.
Oh,
Chat,
yeah.
let me know.
It's PlayStation Plus. I think it's part of Plus in March, if I remember correctly.
Got you. Okay.
One of their offerings, I believe. So this year for Guardian games, you've got kind of similar stuff where you had your strike scoring that you would go through, doing your multipliers and getting all your kills as you run through it. Nothing too crazy unless you're trying to get on top of the leaderboards. Now they have diamond medallions this time because it was gold and platinum. Platinum was either trials cards or nightfalls, I think. Diamond is going to be an in-game activity, one for PvE, one for PvP. I guess PvP is probably trials or comp. PvE would probably be, I don't know, dungeon, raid, not entirely sure. They say you're limited to 3 of these per week because they are worth so much they can just alter the course of a day. So if everybody saves up their diamonds for like the weekend or something, maybe that class can go hard. And they say the third kind is a Twitch drop. So watching Destiny stream for 2 hours will get you your one of the diamond medals. Yes.
Wow, diamond to watch somebody?
Yep. They are trying to. Now, what does that tell you? What does that tell you? They're trying to boost Destiny 2 up in the Twitch directory.
Open them numbers, man.
That's exactly what they're doing.
There ain't no shame with it. It's like, yo, you want to get the highest.
You want to get an easy medal? Throw a stream on 1% volume and lurk away. That's what you got to do.
Here's the thing: like, is it isolated to one streamer? So like
no,
Dado gets everything.
No, it's probably an accumulation of. It's probably watching Destiny for 2 hours during the course of Guardian games over the course of the next 3 weeks. And probably once a week you'll be able to. I don't know if you'll be able to get all 3 from that per week.
Right. So again,
maybe.
not for clarification, not one streamer, right? They're not picking one streamer.
No,
and say, go watch
just go watch a Destiny streamer.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Populate the directory. That's what they're trying to do.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a big thing right now. Is how streamable is your game? People use that. Developers use that as like a metric of success.
I mean, Twitch drops with, I swear, Nightingale had Twitch drops, Suicide Squad had Twitch drops, like a lot of things try and get people to look at your game.
Yeah.
That is.
All right.
I mean, they've done it before. They've done it before with like new expansions and stuff. And it's like for some of the bigger streamers, it's huge that you can get an emblem by gifting 2 subs to a Destiny streamer. And if you do that to the stream, you can get, an emblem, or I think it was an emblem. Yeah, there are big streamers that loved those times. They're like, oh man, big numbers and stuff. But yeah, this is just please populate the directory.
Please watch Destiny. Please
clap.
Please check us out.
Please clap.
please clap.
Oh yeah, Helldivers had Twitch drops. That's right, they did too.
Oh, they ran out of codes.
Yeah, it is common.
It's common. We got to do what we got to do.
So again, banking medallions in the tower, trying to rank up a little bit. You've got different glows and who's the best in the tower look and all of those things from previous years. Your laurels, and then working your way up the like bronze, gold, silver, platinum score platforms to get your awards for the week.
Circle.
But if you get to the point where you can run the Nightfall and you run one over here, get your points, run one over here, you're basically done for the week.
Yeah.
So then if you really want to grind out medals for your class, you can. But yeah, that does feel like it's not too much activity change, but whatever the quest is for the skimmer, that's what you'll see everybody doing.
Yeah. And then they got some new shoulder glow thing. What's this? Weekly performance. And the Nightfall second shoulder glow.
What was that? What was that thing back in the day? The glow slots that they had on all your characters.
Oh, was it Chroma? Is we talking Chroma?
Chroma. You're right. Got it in one. Good on you.
Chroma days. I remember that. We was all excited.
Yeah.
Stuff. Yeah.
Still don't have that in Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Do not. Correct.
Correct.
Yeah, so you get a shoulder glow linked to your performance in the Nightfall playlist. Second shoulder glow for your weekly performance is Supremacy or Gambit. So they got PvE and they got PvP. bronze, silver, gold glow, depending on in the shape of a laurel for your Friday coordinations. See, that's always the thing that's a little annoying. Because like during the week you can do the recreational playlist, and then like for the competitive the scores that matter, you can do those on Friday. So it's like this one's over here, and then 3 days later you can do this one. It's like, but I don't think you can ever do the first one right at the start.
Right away. Gotcha.
So it's always like every other week if you want. I mean, the rewards aren't bad if you go through and you do one decent Nightfall, especially if it's match made and people kind of have an idea what they're doing. You'll go through and you'll get like a core and prisms and enhancement cores. I mean, if somebody's looking for upgrade awards for a free player, they can probably go do a couple strikes and get a quick run of rewards. But if you're sitting there at the capacity of most of those, like a lot of us are, not really so much you're going to get from this one.
I did a lot of the coil, and that thing just floods you once you finish the whole thing.
Oh yeah, like, if you do the platinum, that final room.
Yeah, platinum did. Oh my god, like I was like, man, this is a #1 source for mats. Like everything. Yeah.
Well, like the amount of loot you get if you go on a run and you open every side chest and all those, you end up with like 12 guns and so much other stuff by the time you're done. The coil was very loot generous.
Yeah, very much so. I just like the grind and the consistent power, challenge of it.
It also says there's going to be a focus activity every few hours, so pretty frequent apparently. One of the Guardian Games all-star playlists, Nightfall, Supremacy, or Gambit, will be the focus activity. They'll be live for 2 hours from Monday to Thursday, and for 3 hours from Friday to Sunday. And they're a new great way to get medallions and other awards.
So this is separate from the the diamond thing.
Yeah, so playing a focus, well, depending on if you're doing medallions, you might, or medals versus medallions. Am I getting those? Hold on. Now you got medallions, you got medals. I think they're still all medallions. Maybe just
the currency situation's bad when you've got medals and medallions.
I don't think we. I don't know. I think it's just medallions. I think I'm crazy, so you're probably okay.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So as you level up, let's see. So playing a focus activity unlocks up to 3 tiers of reward packages that go from bronze, silver to gold, with better prizes in each tier. There's one more package, the Champions package, that, as you can imagine, will go to the class that dominates the focus activity by earning the highest scores. Champions package will fill the medallion case, not including diamond medallions because those are unique. So if you get the Champions package for your class, your medallion case will be apparently full. So go turn them in, get a good big boost to your class. Seems like there's, the director is going to show the exact time everything starts, so you can go.
Yeah. Director seems like it's going to be very busy.
Yeah, a lot of stuff on there. And then also next week is the Final Wish, which is going to be Prophecy. But something happened this week where they changed the weekly dungeon, I think, from Grasp to Prophecy. So I don't know if they're going to double Prophecy up again or something. It's
because the Prophecy loophole is going to change. They're giving people the last opportunity to get the weapons 2 or 3 weapons that they had taken out, from my understanding. So they let people farm that.
I don't know what would, in my head, I don't know what would be in there. There's probably some weird PvP obscure weapon.
It's obscure. It's like a sniper, an auto, I think a side-off. That those 3 are coming out. The others are coming back, and then new weapons are coming in and updated perk pools.
I was like, okay. They're also getting a new weapon to the Guardian Games loot table, which is going to be the Hullabaloo.
Yeah.
An arc compressed wave frame heavy grenade launcher. It also has some unique perks like Volt Shot in the 3rd column, Chain Reaction in the 4th column.
Holler, that's for me.
So if you could actually get a wave frame heavy grenade launcher that will clear ads and do all that damage in Volt Shot and Chain, I don't know if it's going to be a beast, but I mean, depending on what it's.
This is the 2nd wave frame, because we only had one with Neomuna, the Stasis one.
Yep.
And then they're buffing it on the day this drops.
Yeah.
You know how Destiny do.
Oh, I know.
This gonna be so. I got a feeling this gonna be so. Y'all laughed at me with Dragon's Breath. Y'all scoffed at me, and I told y'all.
Y'all laughed at me. Y'all laughed at me about Dragon's Breath, and I said nothing because I was not a Dragon's Breath user.
You was like, it ain't gonna be nothing, Carl. You're gonna be disappointed. It's the same old thing.
You know, literally
Stand
last
by it.
episode, I told you, I was like, hey, I'm all good. I'm on board. And then you still keep trying to bring this thing up.
Travis here, so I got to instigate.
I was like, way to be.
I mean, we have a lot of
now
stuff
you're
to
just being a
instigate.
sore winner. Like you're just.
Hey, I didn't. I never got a chance to be a sore winner about being right about the Final Fantasy VII remake thing either, because you guys got shown up on that one.
I wasn't part of
Did
that.
you guys see that?
That was y'all. What
Oh,
happened?
yeah.
How do you think?
Well,
okay, I will tell
your friend Lord, what's his face?
Attic?
Why am I forgetting his name?
Yeah,
Lord Attic.
With you.
He made a video explaining to Ebontis why he was wrong, and I was like, it was great, dude. I was like,
so
see,
the more and more people I talk to, because I was just asking, like, from somebody who hasn't played its perspective, from my understanding was that this is not a sequel, and I got a very, I put a poll, it was 60-40, and I was like, I didn't expect it to be that close. Now it was 60%, it was not a sequel, but there was still 40%. I think YouTube poll was probably closer to 70-30, but either way, being as it's basically that divided, no one seems to come to
that people can be wrong though. Half of the people can be wrong. That's
yeah,
very
but
easy.
what is
and
Cog
they are wrong.
Did you ask Cog what he thought about this, by the way?
Yeah, Cog was here on that debate, and I think he was on your side, but I also didn't realize, until after I saw Lord Attic posting about it, that you didn't play Final Fantasy VII, which now makes sense.
During the whole debate, I told you the whole time we were here that it was like,
but why are you arguing it? You clearly don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my god, here we go.
No, but
why are you arguing? You didn't even play the game? I'm just so surprised that you were even debating it. I'm like, you clearly don't know what you're talking about.
Well, if you didn't know that, you weren't paying attention during the argument because you're just ignoring half of what I was saying. But that's different.
I was too impressed by how strong of a stance you were taking, and I was like, I don't understand why he thinks this. But yeah, it makes sense. You didn't play it, so
no, that's why. That's one of the reasons I was truly asking from an outsider's perspective to say, hey, Final Fantasy VII remake. You're going through the same plot points as like the first 4 hours of the other game.
Yeah, and I kept saying no.
That's why
I kept saying no.
No, I know, but anyway, like all I can say is like you can think you're right, and there are a lot of people that seem to also agree with you. No,
but I am right though.
No,
but objectively I'm right.
No,
this isn't an opinion statement.
Oh, but that was not a
no. Eat Cog.
Until the creator of that game confirms it for you. I didn't realize how. So this is why maybe when last time we argued it, we didn't. I was so shocked because I thought everybody was on the same page vis-a-vis having played Final Fantasy VII. So let me explain to you guys why this is not an opinion. You guys are objectively wrong. There is a canon in Final Fantasy. This is. I mean, it's not even a defensive point. I'm just explaining something to you guys. There is a chronology, a timeline in the Final Fantasy VII universe, wherein the first game takes place in between its prequel game and I think it's a movie that happens after the game. And in the movie, one of the characters makes a choice to go back in time and change the timeline, and that's where Final Fantasy VII Remake starts, aka Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Confirmed that in this game yet?
No, we have.
Where
we have confirmed it. It's in the movie. It's part of the premise.
In Rebirth, in this the new one, we have to confirm once.
No.
Finish.
No, it was confirmed in Remake. That's part of the story. That's why the timeline's different, and so. The Final Fantasy VII Remake literally could not have happened without the events of Final Fantasy VII and the stuff that preceded it, which literally means it's a sequel. So my entire argument during this was like, how do you guys not understand it's not a remake? It literally
definitive yet on the conclusion of this trilogy. It's not. We don't know yet.
I think the trilogy is over,
and then we can confirm that.
I think you don't know.
No,
but that doesn't mean that people don't know. I actually do know. Like this is part of the established canon. Did you
complete the trilogy?
This is part of the.
Exactly. Until you complete the trilogy, and we've confirmed that is exactly what you said. It is up for debate. It's
no. That's like saying like, oh, the Krogan are a race in the Mass Effect universe. Well, you can't say that until you complete the trilogy. No, I can play the first game, the Krogan, and then know that they're in the game.
This
It's
thing
just
can still swing a whole different direction and then end up back to where Final Fantasy VII was, and still have. So it's not conclusive enough to make these definitive statements.
How would that change the fact that it's a sequel though? The events of remake
definitively a sequel yet. You had to play the first game, complete it, and then we're here now. And up until when you play the remake, it starts the same way the first game starts. Thus,
because
not a
of
sequel yet.
Because of the ending of Final Fantasy VII, the remake couldn't have happened. The story couldn't have happened without the game before it. That's like saying, well, until you finish the Mass Effect trilogy, you can't tell me that Mass Effect 2 is a sequel to Mass Effect 1. Yes, I can. I really can.
I disagree.
Yeah, but I mean, you're wrong objectively on this. I just don't know how to.
This movie, and you're acting like the events of the movie is definitively what the creators of this game are saying that this trilogy, this rebirth, this sequel is. And I'm not
Final Fantasy VII is part of why this game remake has to happen the way it. I just don't think you guys. At first, I thought you guys were just being obtuse, but now I understand. It's an education thing. You guys just don't know what you're talking about.
You know exactly how the timeline plays out.
I do, and so does Lord Addict, by the way, a guy who
conclude. And and you know what's funny though?
Yeah,
all that's cute, but the poll does not agree with you. The majority of the Final Fantasy community.
Hold on,
let's do the facts now. Let's do the facts. The
most people are wrong.
Fantasy, you can't overtalk me now. The majority of the Final Fantasy community in the poll said you're wrong. And you're losing.
Okay.
So
that's okay. Most people are stupid. But I'm on a podcast with you people
because they don't agree. I get that you and your feelings because we polled it to the community. The vast Final Fantasy community said no, it is not a sequel. That is what happened. I know you're struggling with it, but that's what happened.
Cog, once you don't have the facts and you have to look at surveys and say that proves I'm right because most people are wrong, then you are in the wrong.
The whole trilogy concludes, and you got it. I understand that.
I don't have to understand how the trilogy. I know how to. I need to know how it
concludes to make the point.
To know that it's a sequel. Why would I? That's an insane. That's an insane stance.
Got it. You got it, bro.
Now, in fairness, I asked. Having not played,
you're just wrong.
No,
you're just wrong.
You're making definitive statements based on things that I'm not concluding yet. I choose not to do that.
Yeah, I mean, you and that's fine. You can do that. You can say I don't know, but I do know, and you're wrong, and I don't know at what point you're going to admit that you're wrong.
I can admit what I'm wrong. The problem is you don't. The problem is you struggle when people disagree with you and the majority feels otherwise. You struggle with it, not me.
I don't.
have no problem
I'm used to the majority being wrong. That's like normal. That's like the stance.
You live in this.
It's not ego. It's people.
I don't do ego. I just deal with what's in front of me. That's how I work.
Most people believe in ghosts. They're wrong. That's okay. That's people are
right. I get it.
All the time.
I get it. You're never wrong.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay, but in this case, there's an objective answer, and you haven't studied it.
So otherwise,
then the poll. Then the poll. Let's take a poll. Let's take a poll. Let's take a poll on whether gravity is real. Okay, and then when
people who played the game, if it's a sequel, they said no. Why are you struggling with this?
So if I took a poll on whether or not gravity was real and most people said it wasn't, does that mean it's now fact? Or can the fact disagree with people who don't know what they're talking about?
Now
that's my question.
About real life, tangible things versus a video game.
Exactly, which has a tangible plot to it, which sets up a sequence of events that happen based on one another. I mean, if you want to define what a sequel is objectively, meaning that the predecessor has to happen sequentially before the one after it.
By that definition, one pause. No, I was like, we don't even need to go down this train again. But I will say, your whole saying the events of one happen after the other are one of the things the last time we had this debate you didn't agree on, because no, it doesn't have to be chronological, and now you are actually turning that back around and saying it is. No, you said that previously.
My point last time was that they're happening in a different timeline, so the timeline sequence doesn't really matter. It's ethereal. But actually, in the chronology of the events of Remake couldn't happen without the events in the past one, because it created a split But my
All right.
point is that it doesn't really matter if it's happening at the same time, because this is a game where time travel happens. And so the question of which one happens sequentially in the game doesn't matter. They happen sequentially to the player's perspective, because you have to understand the first one for the second one and its changes to make sense. That was my point. But again, I was only making that debate because I thought you guys knew what you were talking about, and now I know that's not true.
It's not about.
There we go.
Here's the thing again, and I can't let
He
him.
literally said he didn't play the game.
Right. That's E. I played the games, and I played the whole.
I asked my brother. I was like, "This is what I was going to say." Is like, for me, I literally said it in the debate. That's fine if it didn't come through clear. My apologies, but that's why I was curious. I put the Twitter polls out there, and Twitter polls can be wrong. Now, one person I trust about crazy shit like this is my brother. Now, he has been playing these as long as you have as well. Now, in his opinion, he did not agree that it was a sequel. Now, this is the question that I am going to ask is, and we can wait for about, I don't know, 2030 when we're going to get the sequel to whatever comes after Rebirth.
Well, I don't understand why we have to play that to know that this is a sequel, though, since the answer's in remake.
Not conclusive, but okay.
That's all. I'm getting to the point is when 2030 happens, we get the final game. Then maybe we'll have more information. But all I can say is, Travis, it does seem, unless there is like a factual connection, there seems to be enough division among people right now that it doesn't seem to be clear. Now, if there is some point where you're like, hey, this person did this thing in this game that ties into here, and then this game says, hey, this thing that happened back here says this. If those are there,
that happened in remake. That's my point.
Okay.
The events in remake, without going to spoilers, the events in remake, there's a thing that happens that is because of a thing that happened in previous Final Fantasy stuff, and that was the big reveal of remake. And so I think you guys are acting like, well, until the entire story is over, we can't know. And I'm saying, how is that possible? We already reached the inflection point where that was confirmed.
Here's the problem. The point that you're reaching for is outside of the video game. You're talking about a movie. This creator has made things non-canon before. So to make these definitive statements about a video game, and then you're taking the context of a movie outside of the video game and saying, because of this movie, that means you're right. I'm not there with you there.
It's not just because of the movie, though. The movie expands on something that happens in the game, but it doesn't. It's not like the movie. Without the movie, you still don't get the canon and the different timeline of Final Fantasy VII that wouldn't exist without that character doing that thing. Again, we're trying to be kind of vague here, but I think that even if you didn't have the movie and you just had Final Fantasy VII, it would still be a sequel because of the things we know that happened in that game.
Okay, let me ask a question.
I'm not doing this. I didn't want to do this.
No, mine's more of a question. When I go to actually play these games, I've got to play them at some point. Nothing really seems to have been majorly spoiled besides one thing that I think it was the New York Times did recently. That was fun. When I go to play these games, what order would you truly recommend going?
Final Fantasy VII, the PlayStation, the original version.
Okay, 97, somewhere I've got to be probably
or
be able to find that on Steam.
The remaster would be fine.
Where does Crisis Core fall into the middle of this thing? Because I know that's the thing
first
now.
one.
After Final Fantasy.
So 97, then Crisis Core, then Remake.
I mean, chronologically in the universe, it's Crisis Core, Final Fantasy VII, then the movie, then Final Fantasy Remake, then Rebirth. Chronologically.
Okay, so you would play like the modern Crisis Core that's just like a remake of the old Crisis Core? Or is there a difference between those two Crisis Cores?
No, it's pretty much the same. It just kind of remade the PlayStation, Vita or whatever version of it. They just updated it.
So that's more of a remaster. That would be a remaster. That's polished. That's a remaster. Okay.
But yeah, it does happen before the events of Final Fantasy VII. Okay, so if you wanted to understand the story chronologically, that's the way to play it. Yeah,
got it.
But I would play Final Fantasy VII, the original, because we don't know the conclusion of the trilogy yet, of the remake trilogy. So you can have the full context of what.
So play like the OG story, and then go check out the prequel and be like, "Hey, this stuff happened before," and then go to remake.
Yeah,
either of those work. Okay, because at some point,
it doesn't really matter.
At some point, I do want to play them. and then we'll get to there. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think to your point, E, about the games being playable by people who don't understand the original story, that is certainly true. I think there's a lot of people enjoying it who don't know the context, but I think it's pretty hard to say that the people who played the original and understand that story aren't seeing a whole different kind of layer to the story because they are related and it's playing with different timelines and branching realities and yada yada. And that's part of the fun of it. But it's cool that people who didn't play a game that's 20 years old can enjoy this game as well.
Yeah. Didn't mean for the whole debate.
Yes,
it wasn't my intention.
I did. I wanted to let you guys know because I was like laughing my ass off that night when Lord Addict was making a whole bunch of videos and just like schooling you. He made like a PowerPoint presentation to be like, hey,
the
guys.
funniest thing about all of this, mine was truly a curiosity. Mine was literally a curiosity.
You know all this stemmed because he was wrong about Dragon's Breath, and he don't want to admit this, right? You know what this is all about. That's what this man don't admit he's wrong. That's all this is about.
If we're gonna take it,
let me get my balls off.
No, if you wouldn't have had to be a sore winner, we wouldn't have passed these last 20 minutes.
Oh, it's my fault.
Yes, it is your fault.
What was I wrong about? What was I wrong about Dragon's Breath?
Dragon's Breath was announced. Oh, it's nothing but a remake. It's not going to be good. It's going to be terrible. Both of you. Right? And then Dragon Breath is not only good, it's actually kind of meta. Crickets. That's what I was
literally last week. You and
so this was for Travis.
This is what I'm saying. You have to be a sore winner.
I was trying to get my victory lap on for Travis.
You don't need a second victory lap. You got one.
He wasn't there last week. No,
he has to watch your victory lap.
Yes,
I don't even remember saying that about Dragon's Breath, to be honest.
You said that it's nothing but an old exotic. It's not going to be
true.
It's not going to be meta. It's not. That's what this was about. So I said, no, it is. It's going to be good. I'm telling you.
I mean, I think my reaction to Dragon's Breath being announced would be I don't care about it because it's an old weapon I've already used before, and that is still true.
We're going to know the facts, though, because he can't admit he's wrong. That's my point. He cannot admit he's wrong.
Cog, wait, hold on. I don't remember saying that, but if I did, I was wrong.
All right, thank you, sir.
There you go. I just don't remember saying it because I think about Dragon's Breath about 1 second per 5 years.
We go to video. You did say it, but we good now. Thank you.
All right, I want the video.
That's all I want.
Confirm.
Oh yeah, we can do that. I got.
Anywho, there's gonna be. We
can put it in 4K. We can put it on Twitter. We can do whatever. Long as you at this point where you can say those words, I'm good with you.
Yeah, I mean, if I said that it wasn't going to be good and wasn't going to be meta, then I will admit to being wrong. I just don't remember doing that.
Let's move on now.
Anywho,
you're still wrong about Final Fantasy VII though. Extremely wrong. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So
see, mine's literally a curiosity. Mine is a curiosity. I will be very curious when the whole thing is out. If there's one of those like story explanation videos that has all of this stuff, and they reference this podcast and then to say, see this weird little debate, Travis was right, or see this weird little debate, Travis was wrong. I was like, when all of this exists out there, I'll be curious to see where the whole timeline comes together. Because at some point, I've got to play this. I have to play Final Fantasy VII at some point. I really do. So that's the biggest thing. I have to play it.
He's been called the Nostradamus of Destiny, whether it's Lightfall, the Fate of Trials, etc., etc. I've been right about a whole lot when it comes to Destiny. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Anyway,
that said, I am pretty bad. I am pretty bad. I am pretty bad about predicting what the meta is going to be, though. I thought bows were going to be meta in PvP. Yeah, don't trust me when I try to predict that stuff.
There's certain bows that really piss people off, though. So they're getting a little PvP nerf. So
it's true. The poison bow still good. Le Monarch still good.
It's over, boys.
I was gonna say there is a new memento. It's gonna be pretty much right up Cog's alley with like kind of dark gray, black, and then golden red.
Yeah, kind of like the dragon ornament thing.
Yeah, a little bit of a 49ers look there for you. So if you want an ornament, you might get that. So Guardian Games Cup. There's going to be different teams going for the most medals at certain times. Kind of similar thing they've done before. They've got emblems for that. And then next week is obviously the big giant update with everything. So we've got weapon rewards. We've got restoration being fixed in the sandbox. Threadlings. All of basically the last 3 or 4 giant sandbox twids that Cog and I covered last week. Prophecy has new weapons coming, old weapons coming out, different perks, origin trait. That's all coming on there. And then improvements to PvP with matchmaking and I'm trying to think of like spawn points. They covered a bunch of stuff last week on a couple of those. Big amount of changes coming to PvP, so we will be quite interesting. All of that literally comes next week. So that is like the kind of pre-Lightfall patch. Some stuff was pulled from Lightfall and all of that. So this is kind of your big patch until we get to whatever Into the Light is. We still don't know.
Yeah.
Feeling
Did
that
they give a release date for that yet?
haven't. I feel like they said April and May. I feel like it was April when they mentioned it before. Or I mean, that would be 2 months out from final shape. So I feel like they don't have a ton of time outside of that. I'm hoping it's early April because I'd like to cover a decent amount of it. I've got one vacation late April, but yeah, so that's
Always
most
with the
of
vacations. Apparently, you're supposed to ask me about trials going casual.
Yes.
trials
And
going
remember the whole
casual.
PvP, all the changes. We definitely need to get his input on that.
Yeah, which one was 15?
Matchmaking. Then we had
Yeah.
PvP competitive, the artifice armor, and then we had the key that I want to know from him is actually trials with threes. Them doing the kind of trying to over reward playing in threes. I think
Yeah.
that was kind of one of the themes of it. And then obviously the matchmaking they went
Yeah,
into
card
detail with it.
changes to where you can get the adept
Oh,
if you
yeah.
eventually can get to 7. They've got like a backstop on them. So if you win 2, lose 1, you'll only get that low. Win 2, lose 1. So if you can get up to 5 wins, then eventually you just have to win 2 in a row to get to that 7th point. They changed up quite a few cards for trials. We were just kind of
Passage of
curious.
I did see
persistence, I
that.
believe. Mhm.
Have any thoughts about all of that? Oh, we're getting new
My
maps as
It's really
well.
nice.
Yeah, I did see
Yeah.
that. Well, I kind of gave up on the dream of trials being trials a long time ago, as you guys know. Like, as soon as they changed kind of the core, how that entire mode is supposed to work, I kind of was just like, all right, well, it's not the thing that I wish Destiny would double down on, and I don't think that Bungie will ever do that. So I've sort of let that die. And I think the changes for what they are trying to make trials, even though it's not a mode I'm particularly interested in participating in anymore, is actually good. I think the changes are good. I think the changes to incentivizing people to play in teams of 3 is good, because I do think that that's the best way to play it. So of course you should try to get people to play it that way. I do think that the changes to cards to make it a little bit easier to get rewarded is going to be a better experience for the new audience that Trials has of more casual players. And so, yeah, if you're going to make Trials more casual and you're trying to get the player base up, I think all of the stuff that they announced pretty much are good changes to achieve that end. It's just sort of not, the competitive mode I wanted.
That you love it, yeah.
Yeah, that I loved. So, but that's fine. If you're going to make it casual, at least do it right?
Mhm. Now, what about like competitive? One of the big things to the community is kind of like about artifice armor and these other. What's the thing they added? Besides that, it was another feature they added to competitive. It was artifice armor is one of the reward tracks, but there was also some other major changes they did to it. Was it with the matchmaking aspect? I'm trying to remember now. It's been a minute. Sorry. Try to be help me out there. Hold on, the cards on PS4.
Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, okay, there you go. Yeah.
No, I was like, yeah, you got artifice armor. They had a snake draft to lobby balancing. They were looking at doing
Right.
that. Was one of them. Trying to remember, there was so much before.
Bro, there's a ton of information in that damn
Lobby
Yeah.
balancing.
Lobby
Yeah, lobby balancing. Oh, player health. That was another thing. Player health. So it's more of a focus on critical. If you get crits, you should have a similar time to kill, but body shots will be less rewarding. So player health is going up by like 30 points, so you're overall at like 230. Critical, like they've kind of increasing all of the damages and numbers and stuff to generally be that critical shots should be about the same.
And
But
then the ability cooldowns, right? As far as they felt like the uptime on abilities was too high. And
yeah,
again,
grenade, melee, and class ability cooldowns increasing 15%. Super cooldowns increasing 20%. So super cooldowns and stuff will definitely be getting slower. Like I'm trying to jump through this TWAB as best as I can because we went through it all before.
Yeah.
It
That
does
was the
feel
mi-
like
that was the-
and
yeah.
then like I mean, special ammo was another one.
Oh, the special ammo change. Yes.
Dude, cannot make up their mind about
No, they
special
can't.
ammo,
Yeah, they
dude.
can't.
It's so funny to me. Every single year, there's a new rule about special ammo. It's so funny.
So this time you're gonna have like a meter that you build up with kills and assists, I think. And then when you fill that, you get a certain amount of special ammo for whatever you're using that you keep even through death. But if you kill people, they're not going to drop special ammo. So you have to earn your special ammo. You're not going to go run around and pick up a bunch of it. So they want those to be a little more, I guess, specific use cases. It's not like you're going to take out 2 people and start stocking up 12 ammo for a future round. If you don't use it for a while, you could stock it up. But yeah, special ammo was the other big one I remember now. That's true.
Yeah, it's an interesting idea. I don't really know if it's gonna work, but I don't know, man. I've never really tripped about the special ammo thing because using your primary is fine, and usually there's some kind of balance. I do agree with the problem of if people have too much special ammo, it kind of breaks the game because people just never use primaries and run around with shotguns and fusion rifles and whatnot. So I think that we'll see. Again, it kind of seems like another move to make things more casual, right? Even in death, you kind of get to still keep things. But there was a time where, and this was probably a couple years ago, where the meta was you kill people and then you get to pick up their ammo and then you can stack ammo until you've got like 2 full clips and then the match is just over. And as somebody who slid around with a shotgun and anti-air wards and killed people with shotguns and fusion rifles relentlessly, though it was fun, it was definitely unfair and probably not good game design. So yeah, I mean, they got to do something about that stuff at some point.
And then what about like the primary weapons as far as like kind of they're making the headshots more priority as opposed to, I think, decreasing body shot damage in conjunction with player health going up. Like, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I'm not really sure how that's going to affect the meta too much because the meta is already pretty headshot heavy. Like if you're not, at least in like competitive, if you're not getting headshots, you're kind of screwed. If this makes it feel like even more so that you're not screwed, then that might impact non-sweaty players a little bit more. So I'm not really sure how that one's going to shake out. It sounds like a good idea. I mean, it sounds to me like if you shoot somebody in the body or the foot, you shouldn't do anywhere near as much damage as if you get the headshot since it's a skill. But I don't know. How is it going to affect things like fusion rifle where you can't get a critical hit, stuff like that, or shotgun where it's not really about getting a critical. But I have questions about it. I think it's probably just one of those things you have to see in action. I don't really have any like strong opinions right now.
How it feels.
Yeah, proof of concept.
Yeah.
I was curious, which map do you think you're most excited about? Europa, Neomuna, or a terraformed pyramid ship?
Pyramid ship. Seems pretty easy. Yeah.
Cool. We got maps actually corresponding to content.
Those
It's been a while.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, we're getting a Europa map for Beyond Light that is 3 years old.
Yeah, 3, man.
I mean, Neomuna is at least within 18 months.
Yeah. Remember we used to get Crucible maps in conjunction with the DLC? Had the theme. Remember that? Like,
those were the days.
Yeah, man.
Apparently, the theme of this week's episode is Cog putting salt in old wounds. That is what he's doing.
Messy.
I mean, that's what you're being.
I didn't want to argue.
There's a few things in here. Somebody says lack of skill-based matchmaking is kind of what makes Trials a meme. I think having no matchmaking is a mistake, but I would just do it based on where you're at in the card. I think that's where it was at one point. I'm not sure if it's still like that because I haven't been playing Trials, but I thought that was the best system because that gives it a tournament feel, right? If you get to the 7th match on a card and both of you guys know that you're on the 7th match, that's pretty cool. Somebody else asked, Travis, do you agree with the IGN article today about PSVR 2? I do, and this is somebody coming from somebody who defended the PSVR 2. I really like VR, and I was excited to see PlayStation take another stab at it. And when I had a really big debate with Hogue, who said that the device was doomed to fail, my argument back was, I will give it a coin toss on if it fails or doesn't, but it will be 100% based on if they support it with software. Because if you support a headset with good software, people will come. And they have aggressively not supported it with software. And I think that is bound to result in what has happened with that headset, which is that they haven't really.
I missed the article. What was the gist of it?
Sorry, the article was headlined something like
a year since its release. Yeah, Sony seems to have abandoned PlayStation VR 2.
Was this Ryan? Because I know he had strong thoughts.
No, it was Taylor Lyles, one of our writers. And it basically was just talking about like, hey, you know, they came out in 2022. It's 2 years later. And we've seen like, I think 3 exclusive games. One of them was Horizon Call of the Mountain, which was kind of just a tech demo. One of them was an actually really good game. What's that game with telekinesis?
Yeah. I forgot the name. I know you're talking about
the shooter
one. I forgot the name. I could see it right now.
Anyway, it's a roguelite. That game is really cool. That's probably the coolest thing they've done. And then I think actually, I guess there's 4 because they also had that roller coaster game made by the Until Dawn folks. And then Resident Evil 4 VR mode was an exclusive to PlayStation. I reviewed that last year. Right. So they've had like 4 experiences in 2 years. 2 of those came out, or actually, I think all 3 of those came out at launch, and then one of them was an additional mode on top of a game for PSVR users. So yeah, 2 years and no games is not great. And they basically have just spent all that time trying to catch up with Meta, who has a crap load of games on their platform and are actually investing in it and getting exclusives. And it doesn't seem like that's working too well. So I'm kind of not surprised to see it fail, but I do not think it's a failure of the hardware. I think the hardware is really good. And I think the platform is great. I mean, really the biggest weakness to it is that you have to also own a PS5. I mean, a lot of headsets have that with you have to have a PC problem. But I would say having a PS5 is even more specific. And then when you're going up against MetaQuest and now Apple, who don't require a PC at all, you know, it gets pretty dicey in terms of competition. So, interested to see where that goes. But I really like VR. I got super into it again last year, and I was playing VR like every day. And that's fallen off a little bit because kind of the rush of great games stopped. But VR will always have a place in my heart, and I'll always root for it. And I'm sad to say that I do agree with the article.
Yeah. That's where it's trending, unfortunately. So and the tech is dope. It's just my only issue was always, I understand they went for more power, but I just hated the tethering to the actual device. I love that they're having the freedom of it. But you know, like I said,
I also hate that too. But there is something to be said about the graphical and
the fidelity. For sure.
It's really just that, like, once you use a wireless headset, it's so hard to go back. You know, it's like using a wireless controller. Once you play Asgard's Wrath 2 and you're just like living it up with the completely free, it is pretty hard. And I reviewed Asgard Wrath 2, and then my next game was Resident Evil 4 VR mode. So I reviewed 2 VR games back to back, one wired, one not, and I did the wireless one first. So then when I started playing Resident Evil, I was forgetting how much I couldn't really move around. You basically have to turn using the snap turning mechanic. The snap turn, because otherwise you will not have a good time. But I like the PSVR. I just think Sony was never serious about supporting it with software, which is a shame. And I feel like it's going to hurt their consumer confidence, because now you don't know if you should buy a console at launch or a device at launch because you're just not sure if they're going to support it. Say what you want about Nintendo and Xbox, but at least when they release a peripheral, they support it with a ton of software. The Kinect had a ton of games. It just people didn't like the device itself. So it's a bit of a bummer.
No, it's just somebody said Gran Turismo looks amazing. I have actually heard that Gran Turismo.
That's true.
For
I forgot about
PlayStation VR for a driving game. There are people will do triple wraparound experiences and stuff. but I don't know how many racing games per se you get into VR. And I think you can do some PC connection to some of the games and simulators and stuff. But having like if you're a sim guy, like racing sim and Gran Turismo is like your thing, being able to do that in Gran Turismo, it's one of those few things. But I mean, you say you have Call of the Mountain, which is like a tech demo. You got Gran Turismo. There wasn't that much. And then yeah, with MetaQuest, I mean, the stuff like the foveated rendering where it's like you've got the eye tracking where it would render higher detail where you're specifically looking so it has less power used on the outside of the view. That's really, really smart stuff, and the power that it's capable of doing. And that's one of the things I even heard mentioned about the Apple Vision Pro. Like that was doing the same thing. I'm like, PlayStation's doing that down here for much cheaper. But then you have what Apple Vision does for like, I'm gonna pin. The one video I saw about the Vision Pro is like, this is where we're going. Because somebody walks around their house, the pass through is like, it's good enough where you can play catch where you're not just going to get hit with the ball. It's like fast enough reactions from the cameras to you. And then also it was like, hey, at some point, everybody's going to have a 100-inch TV in their house because it's just right here. That's one of those that I saw. It's like, oh, I've got a YouTube video for a cooking video in the kitchen. Cool. So I'm cooking. I've got my video right here. Don't even have to do anything. You've got little gestures and stuff. And then they walk into their bedroom or their living room. And they've got their big TV to watch their movie. And it's like that future. That's the first time I saw in like a little demo video of the Vision Pro of like that kind of future. Years away still with the technology and the headset weight and all that stuff. But it'll get there, and that's an interesting concept.
Totally.
It's kind of scary to see like Ready Player One and Wall-E kind of coming together, but I was like, both of those seem. I mean, we're at the point now people don't even get out of the car to get groceries delivered to their car. Be like, which is less walking around and getting steps and just trying to be physically active.
You've been able to get it delivered to your house for a while.
Well, I know you can do that too, but it's just those less things that you're even moving around for. At some point. Yeah, everybody's just going to be sitting at home. Oh, I need some orders. Let me pull up Amazon here and then my grocery store and have stuff delivered to my house. Still got my headset on. Let me pull my groceries in and
getting there.
Yeah, and then if you get a robot to go get your groceries off the front door and stuff, it's just going to be real.
Skynet soon.
That's what Skynet's waiting for. They're waiting for all the humans to be sitting sedentary, unable to get off their butts on their couches, and that's when they take over because then the humans can't move. Yep.
That's when they become sentient.
Yep, that's the new future right there. So good stuff.
I, for one, am looking forward to it.
Oh, man, you share that. Okay.
I'll have a lot more in common with the robots, I think.
I want to be that correspondent, so I was down before
I'll be a liaison.
You'll be a
when the robots take over, I'm going to be a snitch. I'm gonna be a spy on the inside.
You're gonna be the dude that makes
Is this the one where you're like,
dude.
It's better to be like the devil's right hand than to like go against him? Is that kind of where you're at or something? Like,
they're gonna
leave me in there.
Yeah, I'll be the Uncle Tom of the robot era.
He's like, I'm snitching.
Oh, for sure I'm snitching, dude. These humans need to be kept in space. Our meat batteries can't be allowed to have their own thoughts. That's not okay.
That's when the meat boxes become real, y'all.
The meat box. Oh yeah, you guys will be in their good graces. You're already box shaped. Yeah.
We make good batteries.
I'll let you guys get killed last. Don't worry.
I appreciate that. No, Prescott actually had a point though. I will say, like, when you get certain things delivered to your house, there are certain things you will just go to the store for produce, like, and meat and seafood, and then that type of stuff, as Prescott said, perishables. Those tend to be better than delivered stuff because you can sit there and look at them. Somebody's not just like pulling random crap off a rack and you get something that looks like junk. But Outsanity on the other side said Apple needs to make sure it will put your pants on for you. Because you got to make sure if it's rendering just your character in space, you need to make sure you have pants. So it's.
I'm done.
Good to know.
Yep. So we need pants and deliverable things. I actually was kind of curious to ask at some point. I've wanted to ask a couple people this because I've heard it even said, 15. I love driving a car. Always have. I mean, I had a really fun car to drive for a while. My wife's got one now. That's pretty fun to scoot around in. But in the grand scheme of self-driving's not there yet, we totally get it. But say 20 years from now,
Professor Broman in that joint.
Oh, I mean, I've seen
video.
I haven't seen
The thing
his.
picked them up. The
Oh, I think I
kinda
might
like
have
Uber.
like
Yeah.
the Uber.
I don't know what your guys' experience is, but self-driving cars are a thing
Yeah,
very
yeah.
much, and
Yeah.
they drive around. I would say most of the cars in my neighborhood do not have drivers, and yeah, it's
Wait.
wild.
Yeah,
San
you well,
Yeah.
you're in San
Wow.
Francisco, like you are in where that
Yeah.
stuff's all gonna.
Yeah,
It's all
yeah.
gonna come
It's
from
it,
California. So
it's wild, dude. But like they drive around my neighborhood. They are. If you're driving a real car, it can be a little annoying because they're extremely slow. They're like overly polite because
Yeah.
they're trying not to make mistakes. But if you're a pedestrian, and I often am because I jog around SF a lot,
Mhm.
they're very polite. They stop, they wait, they do use all their signals and stuff. And yes, you can open up an app and say, take me from point A to point B, and it'll show up and you get in the back seat and then it just drives you there, right?
Yeah. Professor Broman
yeah.
had a video up on Twitter of his experience in it. I was just
Yeah.
like, yo,
This
he
is
here
trippy.
already,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Also,
So
like,
there's a
the
couple cities using it, and some of the cities are like thriving. Like there's a city in I think Arizona that has a huge driverless car program, and I read that their program has been like immediately accepted and is working great because there's nothing in Arizona and it's just like really wide freeway
Yeah.
lanes and lots of parking and stuff. And in San Francisco, most of the headlines you read are when something goes terribly wrong because it's a city. It's
Yeah.
got tons of mountains and hills and the crazy turns and one-way streets. And so whenever something goes wrong, then they're like, oh, it hit a person or whatever. And what's funny is these articles always have headlines like self-driving car hits person, and then you read the article and it's like a human driving a car backed into the self-driving car and like pushed it into a person. It's like stuff like that where you're like,
Yeah.
I don't know, I wouldn't headline it that way, but
That's kind of one of those things that eventually, I mean, I think I saw even Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's like, yeah, 20 years from now, it's all going to be self-driving electric. Because when you go around and drive enough, and nobody's a perfect driver, myself included, as good as anybody else might think they're their own good driver. No car is getting distracted by texting or changing the radio station or dealing with anything in the backseat
or drunk.
Or nobody's.
Yeah,
can you imagine
true.
just being able to not have drunk drivers on the road alone? Like if it sensed any intoxication on you, it self-drives. Like that alone would probably save lives. Even
how would
if
I
it
get
didn't-
anywhere though?
I mean, that's a personal problem. That's more for you and your therapist to discuss, but that's a different day. But it's like that's one of those technological things that I think is interesting because there's times when you're coming up to just even a highway merge, because here in Dallas, it is giant highways everywhere. Nobody knows how to merge and all of that stuff. I'm like, if these 3 or 4 cars, just the cars could talk to each other and say, all right, you speed up, slow down just a smidge. We'll just, weave this car in real quick and then the traffic keeps flowing. The amount of, I mean, you've heard of the butterfly effect, or at least for like braking and stuff, like one person hit the brakes and causes a traffic jam an hour away or something. That type of stuff would happen so much less. Now, nothing's perfect, and Dallas would be a nightmare with like short lanes getting on and everything. It would be weird. Now, the nice thing about electric cars is they're pretty punchy. So if they got to like shoot a gap, but the robots know they can shoot the gap, they're good. As opposed to somebody who's like, no, the highway's scary. I can't get on. The robot's like, shoom, we're good. All right, going. Yep, doesn't matter. I don't know. It is interesting to kind of think of what the future of that will be, because there are plenty of driver accidents. Like people are worried about flying and having, panels of planes fly off. Not a good thing for that one time, but the amount of people who travel by flight and train that don't get hurt versus cars that do. Just one of those. And believe me, this is me who still loves cars, would like take a stick shift car to a road course and drive the hell out of it. Like, but that's like, could be a hobby down the road that my self-driving car takes me to my hobby.
Yeah. I think it should be. It kind of already is. Like, I think as soon as they added automatic transmission, the idea of driving a car for fun kind of already went away, because that's why people do manual transmission, right? Is because
my wife got a stick in her new car.
Feel the road, and I'm like, why would you do that? Like, that's so old. I get it, but it's people who like it. And I've never really cared about driving except for to get from point A to point B. But I will say this. There is one huge reason why we should have self-driving cars.
Let me hear.
Imagine how good the Fast and Furious movie would be in the era of everyone self-driving. Just imagine the possibilities of No, think about it. Dom is old, right? And the world has
He's in
lost
like a wheelchair.
Calm down. Yeah, I'm saying like this is like the Creed movies where he's Rocky Balboa, right?
Oh
Like
my
he comes
God.
back. Yeah, wait, hold on, guys. You're not hearing me.
We're just ahead of you. It's fine.
In a world that has forgotten how to live free and express yourself and have the freedom that comes with driving your own car, we've sort of lost that individuality because everybody just gets into self-driving cars and they right and they don't remember what it's like to actually feel the road and feel the bonds with your friendship that you get when you just hop in a car and you go on an adventure. They're all concerned about the destination, and Vin Diesel comes out of retirement to remind the world that sometimes it's about the journey.
I already see where you at with this.
I will accept your calls, Universal Studios. I will accept your phone calls.
He's in his Rocky, he's in his Balboa bag.
Exactly.
Right, I know where you at. With the world,
you get it.
That sentiment, right?
You get it.
You got to take it back to the essence.
Yeah.
I love how Prescott was like Hasselhoff in Final Fantasy, or in, sorry, wrong thing, in Fast and Furious 15. And I'm like, only way Hasselhoff's in Fast and Furious 15 is if he's like a hologram. I think at that point he might be. I don't know how he's going to be doing at that point either. Dan Infinity pops in, and I was like talking about VR and self-driving. He's like, "So Pacific Drive?" I'm like, "Well, it does
You would be surprised, Robert, and just how much thought I put into various Fast and Furious things. I am writing a tabletop RPG called Ride or Die, a Fast and Furious RPG, and I once wrote most of a spec script called The Past of the Furious that was a Fast and Furious time travel movie.
I mean, I wouldn't put anything. Fast and Furious went to space. Sorry to spoil anything. Fast and Furious went to space. So at this point, there's not much that's off the table for that franchise.
People forget that the video game that was absolutely terrible, Fast and Furious Crossroads.
I heard that was horrible.
It was horrible. I played through the entire thing because, and this is very important, it is canon. And I was the only person on the. It is canon. It is canon. I was the only person on the Fast and Furious wiki to because I'm a wiki editor for Fast and Furious community, and I was the only person on the wiki team who was a gamer. So I played it so that I could create the wiki articles for that game, and therefore it is canon that at some point Dominic Toretto was trying to stop a rocket from launching into outer space. And he succeeded by knocking it on its side, but then it launched horizontally, and he raced the rocket horizontally across the ground of the Earth's surface. So that is canon. By the way, that part of the game is unhinged. It's truly unhinged.
I have so many questions. One, a rocket way faster than a car. Number two,
exactly.
A car does not weigh enough to knock over a rocket.
No, it doesn't. The car doesn't knock it over directly. He does some racing, knocking things around stuff to cause it to tip over. But then it launches horizontally, and then you have to stop it from, I believe, crashing into a city. And so you
it's
are
just
racing
is it scooting across the ground, and you're trying to just drive?
Sliding. It's sliding really fast. It's boosting horizontally.
Okay, so
really fast.
Here's the important question: how does Dom's vehicle get enough thrust, because at this point it's no longer horsepower, it is thrust to catch this rocket?
The answer is that he uses NOS and ramps to go that fast, and I believe it's going through kind of a tunnel ramp situation, so you're kind of going under it and over it, and it's like a circle situation. That game is bad, I must say. I really tried to review that game. I was telling Dan Stapleton that I would debate anyone or do a trivia contest for the honor of reviewing that game. I was like, I have to see how bad this game is. I have to.
That's hilarious.
But I didn't get it. I can't remember who reviewed it, but I think it was somebody internal. That way he didn't have to pay my review fee. I never got to review it, but I did play that whole game, and it's pretty bad. I would love to write a Fast and Furious video game because I would crush that. I've thought about this a lot.
Oh,
I
no,
agree.
here. So Outsanity said the Fast and the Furious, Vin Diesel travels back in time to drift with the caveman. Did you see the preview for the announcement trailer for Kingmakers? That like giant, like medieval war game, and the dude drives a
that
truck and
game
machine
looked
gun into
wild.
it. What is?
I'm in on that.
That game looks
Jeff
crazy.
Bro put me
Yeah.
onto that. I had no idea what this was. I thought it was just like a
Game looks
chivalry
funny.
game. I was like, what is this? I'm here for it. I'm here for
It was
all
like
this foolishness.
chivalry, and then it just hard left.
Yeah, you're hard left, and it's like Call of Duty guy in the world. I'm like, what's happening? I'm here. I'm here for
That
this.
was the weirdest trailer because it's like just wait for the drop, and he just comes in a pickup and drives through the middle of the battlefield, and then has just a machine gun in the middle of a medieval war. It is the weirdest looking.
That's how you do
thing.
it, man. That is
Mhm.
how you make a video game. Correct answer.
I mean, that is some crazy stuff. Yeah.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, you don't make video games when people start losing all the people who make video games. And it
Ain't that the
just
truth?
keeps happening. I mean, that's kind of one of those, there is so much talent that has been lost that I think likely will not stay within the industry. And I think that's probably
not.
one of the major sad parts is not saying the job market anywhere is good right now. Getting a job is hard no matter what you're looking for, if it's anything tech related, because game industry has had a lot of layoffs, but they've been much broader than that in tech as well for a lot of things. Money is more expensive just with interest rates, so people just can't play with money anymore, so things are getting tighter everywhere. But it's just one of those really sad things that, once again, I haven't seen many of a day go by for a little while where some studio doesn't have layoffs. Sony did its big chunk this week. That was like 900. And then Supermassive, and just, I mean, pick a studio right now, I swear.
EA.
So-
EA did 690 or something.
Yeah, EA is actually shutting a studio. IGN broke the news for that
Mm.
today or yesterday.
Which one?
Yesterday.
Ridge.
Yeah, something. They're working.
Yeah.
They're a Battlefield.
Yeah, they're
closing
working
the
on
studio because
Battlefield
the
narrative
leader
stuff.
Battlefield's leaving. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Battlefield narrative, potentially a rumored game for a rumored Star Wars game was canceled, which
Mandalorian got canceled. Yeah.
Mandalorian, first person
Yep.
from Respawn.
Yep.
well, I think another one too is you saw that people at Insomniac also
Yeah.
went through layoffs, and like that is a point where, I mean, I will say Insomniac has carried the PS5 generation hardcore because they've put out more games than most of the other studios. I mean, Ragnarok was cool, but again, that was cross-gen. But I mean, I think Insomniac's put out 4 games or some ridiculous amount of games that they've put out, and they still weren't even safe. So that's one of those examples that it's just, I mean, they're literally going just shaving off the top 10% wherever they can because it's all about numbers and
Yeah.
shareholders and financials. And
So I do want to talk about this because
Mhm.
I think that there's a lot of bullshit going on.
Mm.
And I don't think these layoffs have anything to do with the economy or the dollar getting tight or anything like that. I think it is straight up a fad.
Mm.
And what I mean by that is that sometimes when there is uncertainty in the market, or just because it is the thing that's happening, it's the trendy hip new thing, people make decisions like, hey, wouldn't it be better if we leaned up our staff and we became more profitable? Because if you look at how much money these companies are making, they've never been making more money. And I'm not talking revenue, I'm talking profit. Like they're making more profit than they ever have. And so I don't think there's a need to lay off any of these people. I think what has happened is that some of the big people in the industry started doing this, and now everyone feels like this is their opportunity to do it. And so they're taking that opportunity to lean up their staff and squeeze some extra dollars out for shareholders. I don't think that this is a economy problem. I don't think it's a capitalism is bad problem. I don't think it is a half of the things that have been scapegoated for this happening, I don't think are true. I honestly just think it's 2 things. One, it's people wanting to squeeze more profit out by getting rid of people, which is just straight up greed, and you know, it's them doing it because it's the current fad, the current trend in business. And there's a little bit of, and I don't want to harp on this too much because I still think it is a scapegoat. There's a little bit of over hiring because of COVID.
Forecasting.
A little bit of that. Where they hired too many people. I do think that there is some truth to that, but I don't think it's, I mean, you can look at some of these companies who said, yeah, we overhired during COVID, so we have to lean up. Those companies still turned a profit. less profitable is still making money,
Money.
right?
Yeah.
And so this is a situation of we're making money, but we could make more if we got rid of people and
Right.
made our
That's
margins
such a crappy
healthier.
mentality. I
And
hate that.
it's a shitty thing to do. It's a bad business practice. Not every company's doing it, and the ones that aren't, I think, should be applauded for it. Yeah, it's stupid, and we need unions, I guess is my
Yeah.
That, I
Protection.
mean,
Protection in
that's
this industry
definitely
is
one.
just.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Got it.
No, it was like that's definitely one, as he said, it's just protection for. I mean, shout out to IGN. I saw you guys got voluntarily
Yeah.
recognized, so that was really cool to
Oh,
see.
yeah.
That was dope. That was dope.
But I think, I mean, yeah, on board with pretty much a lot of what you're saying. One of the other things in the industry, as we said, is if you ever ask anybody who's in game development, it's like, hey, dude, none of them do it for the money, which is the really sad part because a lot of them do it for passion. If you ask a lot of game developers for what they make, they're like, oh, I could go work on like bank software and make twice as much. I've heard that countless times from people that have been interviewed about how much they make. And depending, you get up to executive levels and, things get, you're all rich up there. That's fine. But also it's the idea of all these people we're losing. It doesn't feel like your legacy knowledge matters. People are getting cut at all levels and all over the places and things. And one of the things that seems to happen is like legacy knowledge. And that was one of, I guess Final Fantasy recently said, how were they able to get Rebirth out so quickly? And they said, we still have like 85 or 90% of our team still here. So if something comes up, we're able to just go ask, hey, we know this person handled this thing, as opposed to not. And it's just that much knowledge in the gaming industry, whether it's about solving problems, working with engines, working with old school code issues, whatever it is. When all of that leaves, there's such a learning curve to get people back up, because that's the other problem with layoffs is they'll lay people off. And then if there's a hiring spike that's needed, or the economy turns around, or then all of a sudden certain things get popular and then they go higher up again, when they go look for people, some of them aren't going to be there. Then you have a lot of training to do. And what was it? Sony said they had, instead of making 6% profit, or they were making 9% profit in a previous year, now they're making 6% profit. But again, we're talking about Sony, so you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in all of their financials. They're going to be big numbers. So when you're dealing with percents of profit, they're not small. Our bonus is going to be a little smaller and things like that. Maybe. But I mean, overall, they, as Travis said, they made a profit. They're not in the red. They're not bleeding money. They made money. And yet, it's still never good enough. And that's some of the sad part. It was cool to see a couple studios go independent, because I saw MRI said Toys for Bob, and then Embracer Saber was buying themselves out for like 500 or something. Saber was the they were another
I think
one.
Gearbox has also
I heard
been
that might
rumored
be,
to be separating, which we'll see if that's true. But I think based on the statement that they gave various outlets after it leaked, that's probably true, because they didn't deny it. They were just like, we're so happy that people are interested in what we're doing.
And I think Schreier was like, stay tuned. So that one's probably dropping tomorrow or something. Bless you.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Cog, thoughts? I know. I mean, stole thunder.
No, you're good. It's one of those things where it's just frustrating to see, because as a person who loves this industry, to try to recommend to anyone to get in it with such volatility is really tough. And I just see, a lot of people, coming out and speaking out about it, and just wanting sustainability in the job market and talent retention. And your point about, a lot of these studios, can't even keep this talent that they have, and we get the turnover, and that affects quality. And then also these games are just way too expensive. I think that's another thing. These games are costing a lot, taking a long time to make, and we're seeing some pivots there in conjunction with a lot of people really wanting to try to handle live service. And sometimes there's not enough screens and eyeballs to be everywhere, right? So there's going to be things that's losing out. I do think there is some truth to the over forecasting, but I have to admit, yes, when we look at the situation with COVID, and we look at these people thinking that this is the new normal as far as growth, and then now we're seeing a lot of pivot. I'm just surprised it's almost 2 years of pivoting, and we still have not stabilized. So that comes into question: is it just shareholders, the greed, and profit margins being higher, right? And that's the question. I don't have a problem if it's about survivability, but if it's about greed, then I have a problem.
I heard
You
you
know what
say
I'm saying?
this.
So
I've heard you
yeah,
say this somewhere else. Yeah.
yeah. That's my. I've always kind of stood on that. So yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough, and
It's
I
about
think
greed.
most people feel so,
It
right? And
feels
that's the thing. That's the thing. And my main thing is just no other industry doesn't have these type of protections because we have these developers on. They transform their lives. They move into only these specific sectors, whether it be in LA or whatever, where they can make video games, or Washington. And then it's like, if it goes under, like look at Insomniac. Like they've literally been carrying, Sony on their back all this, and then they can't retain their talent. Naughty Dog can't
Et
retain
tu,
their talent.
Brute?
Yeah, yeah. And now I guess, but my question to y'all is like, especially Travis, in reference to Toys for Bob, because I know this is the discussion right now, and obviously we're seeing some studios get shuttered, but in this case, they've been made independent. Like, how do you look at that? Do you look at it as something? Some
Yeah.
people have a negative connotation. Some people say, "Oh no, well at least they get a chance to, do
Yeah.
what they want to do and get free from the Call of Duty machine, so to speak." Like, how do
So
you look at that?
I'm not a huge fan of consolidation when it
Mhm.
comes to small studios.
Right.
People tend to overhype or like panic over like Xbox acquiring Activision, which to me is the one I don't care about because Activision Blizzard is, when it got acquired, it was a bloated corpse. It was never going to lead the industry or create something, unique and original that was going to change everything. It was never going to be that company because they were past that point in the company creativity life cycle. And so I don't care if those get acquired. But when the Insomniacs get acquired, when the Destinies get acquired, when the Ninja Theories get acquired, stuff like that, that's where I'm a little bit less happy about it happening because, like Double Fine was one that got acquired by Xbox that I was not a big fan of. I think some of these acquisitions are happening out of practicality. I think Ninja Theory had to become acquired to do what they wanted to do because I think they said they had like 80% of their team working as a support studio for other games,
Other
right?
games,
So
yeah.
they didn't have really any options, and so I get it. And Tim Schafer said that he sold the company because he was just tired of raising money for all of his games and having to constantly worry. Plus, their publisher got arrested for fraud at the time, which was crazy. Starbreeze.
That's a little rough.
That was pretty crazy. And that's actually, that moment is in the documentary about the creation of Psychonauts 2, which is crazy. So I get that, but I tend to think that the Bungies of the world should remain independent for as long as humanly possible, because once you get acquired, that's when you stop leading the industry, frankly. You start kind of becoming a different type of company. And so I think Toys for Bob is a great example of one that I would love to be independent again. And I hope this trend continues, because when you're independent, what you don't have to worry about is a corporation telling you how much you need to shave off your team for no other reason than they want to squeeze more profit out of you, right? And so if you have a problem with that power dynamic, you should be independent. And I like independent studios, so go Toys for Bob, go Gearbox. I hope we see more of this, and I hope it reminds people of the other side of allowing your company to get acquired, because that is the other side of the equation, right?
That's fair. I agree. I think that's fair. And at the end of the day, I think what we're seeing is the balance and what I call like the circle of life, where either people are now making
went
their
through that
own
recently.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And you're seeing talent going, they're like, okay, we're going to do this ourselves and not necessarily have to rely on a corporation as well. I don't mind if it's for, again, sustainability. If you're going under, some people have made that decision and like, hey, we cannot continue at our own, but it's a balance to it. And my thing is it's quality games. That's what it always comes down to me. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as you're able to do what you want to do, I'm for it. So if Toys for Bob and they look like they're going to be independent and still, even they seem excited about it, like having a potential partnership with Microsoft outside of that, and yeah, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. No, I'm just kind of thinking through. You said just like Circle of Life and stuff. I was thinking about events that happened last week. So sorry, different circle.
No, oh yeah, sorry.
Right. No, you're good.
No, you good. You good. That's just what it is. I think the only thing I wanted to comment was the PlayStation stuff. Definitely bothers me because as a person who my favorite PlayStation was PlayStation 1 because I love the creativity, I love the aggressiveness. Part of their success that I really like was Sony PlayStation UK, you know, in Europe. Like I love the wipeouts and the F1 games and all that stuff. And, you know, to see Liverpool and what the
Yeah,
remnants
that
of
was
it
a sign
just
of like them bail on VR. It was that studio
yeah.
closing.
That because you start to see the signs with Sony and Japan studios and them going away from that. But then I guess the Sony UK surprised me because that's where they established so much of their dominance in the PS4 era. And I feel like they really pushed out ahead of Microsoft in that respect. And to see that being shuttered and then Fire Sprite, and I'm just like, yo, what is going on? So to me, it's like identity loss. Like now it's like, I just worry like, now it's drawing blood from the stone and remake. And don't get me wrong, I like Helldivers. I like what I'm seeing there, but I'm concerned about that they don't remind me of the PlayStation I fell in love this
No.
wild,
I
crazy,
mean, they had
able to do
this.
different things. You know what I mean?
They chased the live service trend. They had, you know,
Yeah.
potentially 12, you know, noodles that they were going to throw out the wall. Well, they're not even trying to throw 12. They might be throwing 6. They're canceling those. The Naughty Dog thing didn't go through, and it's, you know, that thing got basically shelved damn near indefinitely. And, you know, Naughty Dog supposedly is working on some other stuff. You know, you got Santa Monica, didn't sound like they were listed, but you don't quite
Right.
know. But yeah, the Insomniac one was weird. Because I feel like they've carried so much of this generation. The London one was very telling for their thoughts on VR because
Yeah, I
that's
forgot about
where
that. Yeah, that's
their
right.
VR stuff is very heavily based
forgot.
out of. So that's
Yeah.
like when you're wondering, does PSVR 2 have much of a hope at this point? It really doesn't feel like it when that studio goes away.
I
That
agree.
one's really sadly telling. I mean, you have Helldivers being successful, which is cool right now. And then you'll have their partnership with Square Enix for the game that came out today, which will do well
Important
for
to note, though, Helldivers is not a first-party game. It's a
Correct.
partnered third-party
Yeah.
game.
Correct.
And that feels kind of like, and that's kind of what their whole year is right now because they don't have anything listed until,
Right.
I guess, I don't know if it's fiscal year, but they said March of 25, which very well may be. So 24 is looking light for PlayStation. But these
From
partnered
the
games,
first
like,
party's perspective.
yeah, but for like the partnered games like that one and then stuff like that will be a thing. Now, I mean, if PS5 Pro comes out, then everybody buys one of those because that's the best place to play Grand Theft Auto 6. That's a weird third-party relationship that plays out that could get really weird. So, I don't know. We have to get there, though. It does feel like
Yeah.
this daily depressing news of video game
Yeah.
layoffs and people losing jobs. And it really sucks because it sucks to get laid off a job, no matter where it's from. But if somebody has their like,
Unless it's a job you hate. I've been laid off from jobs and been like, I am so relieved.
and that, well,
You guys
that's
ever had that happen?
that's the opposite. That's the opposite of what people go in this industry on. It's like they're giving
Yeah.
up money to work for probably less money for their passion thing. Some of them at a passion, like a studio, a lifelong goal that they got to work for, and they're not there. And that was their dream, is to work there. And that dream is just like a balloon floating in the air that just got shot. It's just gone. And that's what really hurts to see is people lose their passion, their job, their dream. They got to work on their dream stuff and now it's gone. That hurts even more. As Travis said, it's like, oh no, I got laid off from the crappy bank soft. It's like that's less. I mean, it sucks to lose a job because yeah, financial security in this day and age is really important. But if you love your job and what you work on and then that's ripped away from you, that's it's twice as bad. That sucks.
I will say, I know that there's a lot of doom and gloom of like people leaving the industry, and I'm sure that will happen. But the other thing that sometimes happens is, depending on who gets laid off, there is some entrepreneurship that happens.
Yes.
It happens with acquisitions too, which is why I don't freak out as much about acquisitions, because people can always leave and start new companies, and there's kind of like a circle of life, to Cog's point. But I'm hoping that some good comes of this. Sometimes when people's backs are against the wall, you see some really cool entrepreneurship and cool game ideas, and the industry could get weird again, which I'm a big fan of. So I'm hoping that happens, and less of like, you know, people leaving to go to work for a bank.
Yeah, there's one or two, and that's part of what we can hope for. It also does seem, I saw, and it depends on the game and the studio and who's involved, but you see a couple posts about games just being canceled or studios not doing well because I saw one or two they could not get the funding.
Yeah.
So that's where even just money in the industry, and I think it's a combination of what I think Travis said with the following a trend of like, hey, this seems to be the time to do this. Everybody's got crappy news. Let's deliver ours along with everybody else. But also it's the idea of, I don't know, if funding games, the riskiness. If you see something like Suicide Squad, WB is like, we're not going to have a great year. Well, we had an amazing year last year with Hogwarts that blew every record that they could have hoped for away and surprised everybody. And
Best
even,
selling game last year.
yeah, it's like beat Call of Duty. And then you turn around and launch
Crazy.
Suicide Squad, which like everybody could have, so many people told them what it shouldn't have been, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's like those numbers are pitiful now and came out to piddling reviews. So to see even just in one studio do that type of stuff, I don't know. It just, gaming is risky and the budgets are big. And that's where smaller, when you have a Balatro sell 250,000 copies by one random dude who make it and get blown away. Do what?
You guys seen that guy on Twitter? He's like
Yeah.
hella surprised that his game
He's
is doing well.
really surprised. Yeah, he's loving it.
He's so adorable. He's just like, you guys like my game?
And it's one of those, I mean, that Vampire Survivors, those little unexpected gems. I mean, Pal World, in your head, the concepts kind of work, but you never know if that's going to take off. It didn't have marketing. It was all like word of mouth. And then Sony, I can probably guarantee, did not expect Helldivers to do what it did. So it's really hard to spend a lot of money and bet. And I'm kind of with you, Cog, on that. Well, yeah, it's like, but I'm with you on the worry of the sequels, the remasters, and the unoriginal ideas that we get. That's
EA kind of said that was their plan already. That's what they were going to be doing with their.
Okay, that also like I supposedly the Mandalorian game gets canceled. There's enough gamer nerds out there. There's no way a Mandalorian game doesn't find some success. Now, if you make a crappy game, that's a crappy game. But if you make a good Mandalorian game, I got a feeling that would probably sell pretty well. I would think, just between the hype of the franchise and if they time it with another season coming out, it would just be, it feels like it would be easy. And they're like, we're not going to be doing IPs. Now, the other thing I saw was that IPs they can put less microtransactions in them. They have to they can't monetize the game as much, and that could be a reason why they go away from it. But I'm like, a Mandalorian game, an Iron Man game, a Captain America and Black Panther game, or whatever the combination of people are in those games, those are probably going to do fine, I think, as long as they don't make a crappy game. But yeah, if they can't monetize Disney games or something, that's an EA argument written all over it.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, especially with the pedigree who was on it.
Respawn making them. Yeah. You couldn't find a better Mandalorian game maker than Respawn after they just got done doing Star Wars, Jedi Survivor, and also with their shooting acumen. They would be one of the few studios I'd probably put that in.
Mm-hmm.
It could also be. I mean, obviously, this isn't a reason for the larger layoff, but it could also be that the game was looking pretty bad. Always an option, we don't know what the game looks like, but sometimes that is the case. So.
And I wonder if Jedi, as much as I love it, got lost in the sauce with the type of year, you know what I'm saying, last year was, right? With Survivor.
I don't know. I don't know if I ever saw how it did on sales. Yeah, I don't
remember how it did.
It got an award it got a Grammy or an Oscar for the score. I think it got one of those, but that doesn't really matter. Yeah, I don't know. I don't ever remember how it did on sales. They never, I don't think, put much out on it.
Sometimes it come down to that profit, man.
Yeah.
They could have had lofty expectations and targets, and hit the target. And all of a sudden,
they could have Square Enixed it. It didn't meet our expectations. Our expectations were super unrealistic.
Yeah, exactly.
Still, it failed to meet them.
Square Enix is one of those that you're like, what are you hoping for? Like,
what world are you living in where you thought it was going to do that well?
Yeah. What BS? Oh, we were expecting 20 million in sales for what? No, you're not. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, yeah, been a bit of a journey of an episode. Sorry, everybody, if you made it this far for the derailment in the middle bit, but it's fine.
That's the best part.
We got to hear about Fast and Furious racing a rocket across the ground as a finale. That is the most ridiculous thing I've heard of in a hot minute. So that was great.
Mm-hmm.
It's just another day in the Fast and Furious universe. That's all I'll say.
Here's an interesting question to end it on for you, Travis.
Yeah.
You've
Hit
played
me, baby.
One more time. Games, good, bad, and all around that you play. What will
Yeah.
make you put a game down and just not finish it?
If I'm getting paid to play it, nothing. I will finish it. I
I
mean,
mean,
I've
if
played it
you're
this
getting paid for
point.
your job, that's different. I'm saying
Mhm.
on a personal side
Yeah.
of things, what will make you just be like, you give it a couple tries, something like it just, what will make you just not finish a game? Just, I'm done.
Pretty much anything. Like, I will
Oh,
stop
you're
playing a
easy
game
stop.
at
Okay.
Oh, yeah, I will stop playing a game at, like, the lightest just, approaching of me not feeling like my time is being valued or I'm not enjoying it. Like, it really doesn't take a lot, because nobody likes to play games that they're not enjoying, and if I don't enjoy a game, like, there's not a lot of hope in me finishing it or getting anywhere close to finishing it, so,
Fair.
yeah.
You're an easy bounce off if it's needed.
Easy bounce off. Easy, yeah.
Cog, where are you at
Same.
on sticking through it, putting some time in, committing? Easy bounce off?
Yeah, because I learned as I've gotten older, like I have to see. Luckily, I'm not like you guys. Sometimes you guys have to do the reviews. So
Yeah.
for me, it's pure enjoyment for me at this stage. So the minute something is interfering with my enjoyment, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. This is
Yeah.
not fun to me. Like I am out. Like it's just as simple as that. So yeah, it just.
Good.
Remember I was telling you with the Gotham Knights thing. I was like, you know what? All right, let me see. I was curious, right? And I was like, all right, it's in Game Pass. What the hell? And 2 hours in, I was like, no. I was like, I cannot. And that thing was uninstalled. So yeah, my tolerance is
That's fair.
less. And then on the flip side, sometimes I do push through things that may be average to above average if I like other aspects of the gameplay that really draw me
Yeah.
in. And I'm like, all right, I still like this. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah,
So there's got to be
me, right?
something that's like some compelling piece that you are enjoying, even if there's like friction points around
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
maybe something still pulling you
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
it's hopefully you're enjoying most of the time with the games that you choose to play, but
Mhm.
I think the phrase that I've heard, swimming in sevens, have you guys heard of this? It's
Mm.
the idea that, like, sometimes middle games are time better spent than with, like, AAA games because at least when you play a middling game, or at least hopefully if you're playing a middling game, it is, more unique and has, like, more interesting kind of
Mhm.
stuff about it.
Mhm.
And I think that philosophy can absolutely be true. I mean, I know I've played games where I've been like, "Well, it's not the best game, but it's just so different that I'm willing to
Yep.
overlook some of the
Yep.
stuff I don't like about it because it's fun and it's
Mhm.
something I've never played before, etc." So,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it varies from game to game, but that said, there's if I'm not enjoying a game and I'm not getting paid to play it, I will put it down with prejudice. I will put that thing down and never look at it again
That's
or
totally
think about
fair.
it.
Yeah.
I'll forget
Yeah.
I played it.
Yeah.
I'll be like,
Yeah.
you ever play that game? I'll be like, I don't think so. Does it sound familiar?
What about you?
I probably stick with things sometimes longer than I should, but more often than not, like if I'm playing, I mean, Pacific Drive was a weird one. Like I wanted to cover it, I wanted to play it, and I was like, I'm kind of with you. It's like there was something there that kind of kept pulling me back to be like, I want to do a little more. There's one that I've like checked out in the past little while that for me was like I was almost forcing myself to go play a little more, and I was like, that's the wrong mentality. But
Yeah.
so like
Mhm.
Nightingale's like rough around the crafting edges. But like conceptually, I'm like, oh well, if I make a new realm and go wander around and doing like some of that stuff's cool. Like there's things I'm enjoying about these things, but yeah, there's one there's one right that like I don't know. It's weird to even consider playing again. And I've only put a few I put like 3-hour segments
The thing
into it.
is, you're your own boss, so you kind of can just bail,
Oh, I
right?
know,
Like, it's
yeah.
not
It's
like
like, and
me where I have to
that's
do it.
Yeah, he
yeah.
has to. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's different.
Yeah.
It's like mine is a choice. Mine's one of those where it's like depending on if you like
Mine is a choice. Why did you say that while looking at me? What was that? What was
you just said no, it's more
I
the
didn't like that. I didn't like the way you
that is not what I meant. No,
mine is
mine's more
a
the
choice.
idea of like as I'm doing more variety, all I'm trying to do is like connect with PR and community managers and the agencies that are like handling the PR for these things. So if you reach out to one and then if it doesn't quite go as well as you hoped, I'm gonna feel really bad if you don't like follow through with coverage or something like that. But I'm sitting there like considering the game, the channel, and other things, and it's just kind of like I don't know if this has any benefit to most of the parties involved at this point. It's almost better just to like that's the weird part. So it's
God, I feel like you just broke up with me. Didn't that sound like his breakup speech?
It definitely.
I feel like this just isn't good for both parties. I think it's hurting you more. To be honest.
Breakup line.
Yeah,
I'm married,
like, honestly,
so I'm not. I'm married, so I'm not.
You're
doing
the
that
real victim here. You're the real victim. Honestly, I feel like I'm doing you a favor right now. Honestly,
I'm very married, so I'm not gonna have to have that conversation.
I'm just
again.
saying. I'm just saying. There's some women have heard that speech from me for sure. I think that was very clear.
Yeah, you broke that down.
Anywho, I was just a question because it's like, as you said, swimming in sevens is like it's not bad to swim in a 7. Like they're not going to be great or amazing, but 7 still you have a good time. That's literally the definition is good. But if you can't find that, if it feels like it's mediocre at best and you're just trying to force yourself to play, it's something's not meshing right. And that's just kind of one of those. I haven't had one hit me quite like that, and it just didn't land. So it was a weird one. That was all. But I was just kind of curious if you guys. I have a friend who has a very, 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 very fast bounce rate as well, and he will just try a lot of things and not stick with them. But it's also like if games are in a genre that I think he typically likes, and then I try it, and I'm like, hey, I think you might like this one. No, there's so many more that I think that he would, but he doesn't. But again, if you're not finding the fun, I'm at the point where now I'm like, I think you might have fun. I'm also getting better at judging which ones I think you won't, because it'd be like, hey, how about this one? I'm like, I don't think this one's for you, bud. So I try and I know which ones he's probably not going to stick with anymore. But yeah, it's just kind of a curiosity. Is I have a friend that bounces really fast off things, but as you guys say, it's like, what's your time? You should have fun in your time, especially if it's just your hobby and stuff. So if you're not enjoying it, don't play it. So. Well, that's about all I got. Quite a roller coaster of an episode. Fun one.
I'll say.
Travis, I'm sure you saw, but yeah, you got to miss last week when covered one of my dogs no longer with us, so I know you weren't here for that.
I did see that. I'm sorry that happened to you.
Yeah.
And I say that as a person who's not an animal lover, but I do understand loss.
Yeah, so that was, and I think that was the bigger thing for me is it's, as old as I am, I really haven't experienced that much of it, and I think that's why it hit me really hard. So,
it all depends on context. I saw a 5-year-old cry for 4 hours because her imaginary friend died. I guess I don't know.
Oh wow,
it's a real story. So I mean, it's whatever.
So that's a rough go, but
it's a mental thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that.
But we're getting through. No, I just went to go pick up her ashes and stuff today from the vet. So that was it hit right before the podcast. I'm like, God damn it, I was doing good. So
peaks and valleys, brother. That's what it is. Certain triggers.
No,
long as you recognize it, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
let it out and be good.
But other than that, we have still dog noises, but 2 of them. Out of 3. Still playing. I feel like Midnight is taking up some of Raya's stuff though, because she was always like the guard dog. Enzo's always been like the messenger. Like Midnight says there's something at the front door, but before it was Raya says there's something at the front door, and Enzo was still always like not the first one to the door. Now Midnight's like, I'm gonna jump through this window to get that leaf, I swear. So it's just it's funny.
Shout out to Midnight.
Yeah,
Midnight.
Midnight is a crazy dog. He is an absolute loon puppy. So. Keeping us busy, at least.
Nice.
Well, anything else for you guys? Anything next week you'll be talking about? Or nothing yet?
Outlast Trials.
Oh, there you
next
go.
Week. Tell you guys about that. I mean, I already reviewed it, so... I reviewed it last year. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I reviewed it in its early access state.
Yeah, I was like, I feel like that name has been around for a long time. That's when I saw it finally come, and I was like, it's finally going official.
Yeah. So this is my review. I think this is my first ever game I've reviewed twice. I think because I've done the second review before, where like somebody else reviewed it and then I reviewed it. But I think this is the first time where they've had me do it both times. So
nice.
I was supposed to re-review Disney Dreamlight Valley this year, but we ran out of time because of Pal World. Pal World exploded, and then everybody was like, "Forget about that game.
Yeah.
What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cog, any big news guests? All you guys had.
Yeah, we had
fun
Genki
one.
on.
Yep.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Genki.
Yeah, Genki, awesome. It's giving us perspective on Japanese culture and how things are so different. Us Americans think one thing and how things are actually going over in the game industry over there. It's pretty cool. No guests this week. Probably gonna start diving into Final Fantasy once I pick up my cousin.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be all Final
You
Fantasy.
can get that sequel to the sequel now, so you can go do that.
Yeah,
discussion.
definitely. That's what we doing. So we got that, and then
You guys do agree that Rebirth is a sequel, right?
Yes.
to the first.
Just checking.
Remake.
Just checking.
Yeah, it's a sequel to remake.
I'm gonna check on everything now. I'm gonna be like, The Mummy Returns, is that a sequel? I'm gonna check you guys. I'm gonna check everything. Just checking. I don't know what you guys think is a sequel anymore.
My god. Anyway, we got that. And then so we're doing my competitive Tekken. So your boy's getting good in the rank scene. I'm taking it to these esports kids, and I'm feeling young right now. I'm feeling good.
Cool.
These kids can't mess with me right now.
Cool.
Putting up clips on Twitter. I'm feeling myself. I ain't going for feeling myself.
Hog's feeling himself. We got to shut the podcast down, everybody.
Not the first time I've heard him say that.
Yep, this is the after hours part of the show. All right, and this has been it for The Last Word, episode number 286. Thank you guys for all hanging out. You guys know where to find all our stuff. Go hit refresh 5,000 times on the IGN site to give Travis a bump. Cog, of course, Iron Lord's Last Stand Media. Giving you a nice shout out, by the way. Saw that from Colin. That was really cool. You guys are a good family over there. And of course, me. Yes. Covering who knows what game I'm going to be covering next, but we'll probably be playing a little Destiny next week. It does seem.
Thank you for your wishes.
Yeah. I'm excited to hop back into Destiny. It's been so long.
Yeah. Guardian games, patch.
It's been like 3 weeks. I don't know. It hasn't been that long, but it feels like it's been a long time.
Somebody said, I think next week's show should be a reboot and not a sequel.
I think it's a good idea.
Reimagining, maybe we'll do a remix.
Or you know what we could do? We could do a repilot. Do you guys know what a repilot is?
I have questions about this whole phrasing.
Like the pilot episode of a TV show.
I know what a pilot is, yeah.
Yeah, so a repilot would be like that season of Scrubs where they did a new pilot with a new cast.
Was that like 9th season when they did that?
It's something like that. I don't remember, but this has happened where they like repilot it. And then I believe there was a Community episode where they did a repilot where they came back as teachers. And I think, you know what I mean?
Are they like parodies? Is that what it is more than?
No. It's like you reboot the show and you give like a pilot, because the pilot episode is supposed to be the premise of the show that sets up all the episodes and seasons that follow. And so when you repilot, you're basically being like, what if there was this second show that happened in the same universe or afterwards, and then you do like a repiloting episode.
Okay.
So
I'm gonna do the repilot. Sounds very Final Fantasy-ish.
And on that note, thank you guys very much. And for this episode, it has been
The Last Word.
The Last Word.
You did it. You did it. We got the guns in.
I hate that you got me to do that.
I got it.